哎，你看，有几只环尾狐猴已经过来迎接我们了。看到了新来的客人，他们很惊奇，看着我们。你看，列队欢迎，挺有意思的。
They're looking at us. They're lining up to welcome us. It's very interesting.
不好意思啊，出了点小尴尬。我们这个竹排不是太好使。现在我处在这个湖的中央，
It's not really easy to steer around in this lake. I'm at the center of the lake. I have to find a way to get there. I have to put my mic down.
我们现在工作人员已经登到了这个船上，他的技术很娴熟。虽然是短短的距离啊，但是
So we have a staff here who is helping us to steer around the boat. It's a very short distance, but kind of complicated to get there. Well, alas, eventually we're here at their home, because usually we don't have anyone except for staff who come here. So the transportation means is quite extraordinary. We have to say sorry to you. Now we're on the boat. Hello. So adorable. It's a small family here. So you see the twins here, twins on the back, the two babies here on the back of their mother. They're holding on to her arms. The social status of the twins is extremely high, because after giving birth to twins, the mother enjoys a high social status in the family, because she gets the priority when she takes a break. Do they eat fruit, fresh fruit, apples? How many times do they eat? We actually feed them 2 times, in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, 2 meals a day. We feed them eggs because she's breastfeeding, so she needs more nutrients, dates, boiled eggs to help her with breastfeeding. So she's holding on to the bowl. What does that mean? Because she wants something delicious. She wants dates, bananas, eggs. She wants something fresh, nutritious. And they like apples. Sometimes they like it, sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she only goes for bananas. Well, the baby is really quiet on the mother's back, while our twins are here. How is the younger generation? Well, we're really pretty well with this. Well, this year we have 5 babies. 2 of them are twins. Well, they're actually fighting for food. In general, we have 13 in total because it's a family. We're actually dividing them up into 2 groups. This family lives on this island. They can wander around the island freely. The other family is in another zone. It's in kind of an exhibition zone where you can actually interact with them. How can you distinguish from female and males? Males are bigger in size, and females are smaller. What about the babies? The babies are always on the back of the mothers. Really eating happily, enjoying their meal. I heard that ring-tailed lemurs are different from other animals because they're highly alert. If they find eagles in the sky, they can actually make a special sound that is unique in these families, so to actually warn other family members from getting attacked. And this is a kind of mother-oriented family, because in an animal world, males do not enjoy a higher social status compared to females. Well, they do not have any actually enemies back in Madagascar, so they can actually propagate freely. They can enjoy a free space and safe space. The female lemurs are actually enjoying higher social status, who are actually raising babies. They flock together. What's the word to say that? But well, I find that actually there's a kind of a unique favor to it, just like a skunk. They leave a very special smell that actually mark their territory. And when they're actually breeding, they have to choose a partner. So they actually distinguish different partners by the smell. They can be stronger, bigger in size. The partners enjoying higher social status, that will be advantageous when you are breeding. Of course, they actually excrete a very unique smell. Well, on this island, it's a really interesting environment where they enjoy the company of different animals, because chickens, birds, actually not an interference to their life. And they find vegetation, plants where they can climb up. It's very interesting for them. Well, the babies were down and then back up on the back. So from how far along would they be able to live independently? In about 2 months. They're only 1 month old. Some were born more than a month ago, like at the end of March and April. But in 2 months, they will be able to walk on their own. Slowly, they'll go to the ground, they'll walk on the ground and find food for themselves. What about sleeping? They sleep on their back, and they go to the front of the mother's body for breastfeeding. That's how they move. And the breastfeeding time is actually quite set during their schedule, or in their schedule, daily schedule. On our way to the island, there was a small episode because the raft we were using were only available for 3 people. While I was rafting, I wasn't really sure, and that's how the episode happened. So we'll ask our staff to get us one by one back to the park. Can we two actually go over there to take a look? And can you actually tell us something about the birds over there? Or is it better not to interrupt? Because they're breeding, so it's not really good for us to interfere in this period, or they might abandon their eggs. We don't want this to happen, so it's better not to go there. I'll let you take the lead. In terms of the food we're feeding them, what kind of food do they eat every day? Mainly fruits. The staples include feeds that is artificially made, or some mantou made by sweat, made by flour. We have some bread, mantou, water, dates, eggs, and fresh fruits. And they actually have a set ration for each lemur. Aside from Madagascar, all the lemurs in other parts of the world were raised by human beings, right? Yes, because all those who were raised by humans are actually live in a quite comfortable environment. They were provided with food or help them keep warm when the weather gets cold. And we actually transfer them to a warmer place when it gets cold, because they are tropical animals. They're afraid of cold weathers. When can the baby lemurs start to eat fruit? 2 to 3 months. They can slowly get some soft food like banana, flour products. What about the breeding season for the lemurs? It's a seasonal thing. About March or the beginning of the April, that's the beginning of the breeding season. So I get to enjoy some one-on-one time with our baby lemurs. I think they're really curious at new things. They're curious my cell phone. They actually give out some stink, and they actually have 1 to 2 elements from which they can excrete stenches. So when it's necessary, they can actually give out the liquid or the gas very quickly. One is to mark territory, and one is to help them actually find a partner, because this distinguished stench will help them find a suitable partner. So they actually have 3 scent glands So whichever gives out a most stenchy scent will be able to find a suitable partner. That's how they breed. You can see this island aside from the lemurs. We have swans, so we call it a swan lake. And for the first time, we have the they're really very protective with their babies. They're really cautious with anyone coming in. Actually, we were talking about the pelicans. The pelicans have their first baby this year. How many meals do they have every day? Actually, just one meal a day. So what we just fed them wasn't enough, right? We'll go to the next destination after we're done with lemurs. We'll go to see some raccoons. We see the Raccoon Cubs. So what we actually familiar with them was the image, the very cute image in those animations. But in North America, these are wild animals. So this is our raccoon park. We see the baby raccoons here. They're really enjoying their time. So these were raised by people. They can actually enjoy the close contact with human, with our keepers. There's minimum damage, or they're not really they won't really hurt people. I think they were really popular back in Japan as pets, but once they're back in the wild, they pose some damages to the environmental environment. Well, Ding Ding, that's the name of our raccoon who gave birth to a new baby. Usually, how many babies do they have in 1 year? So it's actually just once per year, but they can actually do it 2 times a year. It's really rare, very uncommon. Usually we see one every year, and for that one time they give birth to 2 to 4 babies. They're not good at with jumping, but very good at with climbing trees. They usually interact with our keepers. We have an electric wire here, actually to prevent them from climbing the fences. So these are adult raccoons, and we're going to where the cubs live. You see the tiny cubs here? They're much smaller. We have so many smaller raccoons. They're baby raccoon. They're really, really cute. They're really cautious, alert, because what we're wearing are of different colors, because the keepers usually wear the same uniforms. They're not afraid, but now they're seeing people with different colors. They're really sensitive to bright, different colors. They're highly alert to different colors. Well, the baby raccoons, where the raccoons are good at climbing, we see in this park, we see different trees. On those trees, we see those iron wrap on the top of the tree, that is actually to prevent them from climbing higher up. And in this tiny hut, this is Ding Ding, the mother who gave birth this year. Let's not approach her because she doesn't want to be scared. This is not good for her babies. She might abandon her babies. We don't want to get her shocked. But in this hut, it's highly secretive, it's dark with minimum interference. Well, do they usually sleep in the huts in the evening? Most of them sleep in the trees, in the tiny huts. But they usually rest on the trees. Well, so the iron wrap actually doesn't really prevent them from climbing up. The babies won't be able to, but the adults can actually climb all the way to the top of the tree. We see these animals, they're really cute, but actually they can be ferocious. They can attack people when they get back into the wild. It could be very dangerous to human beings. Well, they were raised by human beings, and these animals can interact with human beings. We can actually learn how to interact with animals with these raccoons. They are extremely cute, can attract people, children, to actually know how to interact with those wild animals. Let's go to the next stop. What about ostriches? They actually have baby birds. So these are artificially hatched because in the ostrich park, in the natural environment, the survivability of those babies are extremely low. That is why we need human interference. They're extremely big. The birds are big. About the ostrich, after lay an egg, depending on the size and the shape of the eggs, we actually pick the eggs or the width of the egg. Just depending on our own experience, we pick those high-quality eggs for hatching. We have hatched 8 baby birds this year. You will get to see or get to take a look at the baby birds. So we can actually control the humidity, temperature in the baby gardens. So you can see the baby birds here. So this is a kindergarten for the babies. You can see the 2 eggs here. When we are hatching the eggs, what's the way to do it? Well, by shape, or where there's any deformed, we actually sterilize the eggs. With the hatching machine or the incubator, the hatching process takes 40 days. After the bird breaks the egg, the baby birds came out. And in our incubation or the baby room, we will raise the baby for a few days, and then we'll get them out into the wild on the grass to actually to enhance their immune system. The babies look quite different from the adults. Well, they're still small. The color of the plume or the size and the shape will become different. For an adult male, the plume could be black, or females could be a little bit gray. We see the skin or patches here on the neck. Well, it grows in different periods. The plumes, the feathers will be different. The colors will turn into different colors. when they come to different periods of growth. Well, they're all flocking together because of their cold, because baby birds, baby ostriches, they have really good eyesight. When there's one bird running, all the birds will follow suit, and when one is sleeping, the other will follow suit. They always go together. In the cartoons, we always see ostrich always put their head in the sand. Well, be the birds or the adults, they like to actually pack things. If you see what they're doing in these the breeding rooms, they're not actually eating things. They're just packing on things. They're really curious at those sharp objects, bright colored objects. When there's anything shiny on the ground, they like to pack on it. They like to eat it. So it's unlike in animations when they are afraid they will actually put their head in the sand. That's not the case, right? They're highly alert. Whenever they fear anything or they detect anything, they will start running, and they run really fast. When you see them in short distance, they're really tiny. They like to be together because the birds are always flocking together. They're always in a community. If there's one leader running, all the birds are running. They will not go separate. So while we were talking, you mentioned, aside from what we can see now, those babies, a lot of babies after being born, some have diseases or some might sleep during the day. We were not able to see them in today. Then could you tell us what kind of babies they are? Well, we just saw the baby raccoons, ostriches, and the ring-tailed lemur, pelicans. We also have tiger cubs, baby giraffes, or the baby birds, and some monkeys. In the primates category, we also have baby zebras. Well, the June 1st Children's Day is coming, so I think the children can come here, enjoy the company of the babies. Now we're going to the Tiger Park. It's a short distance away. Well, this wild animal park is extremely huge. The total area of this wild animal park is 2,800 mu, a Chinese unit of area. So it's a huge, we have huge space. The animals enjoy a lot of space. Unlike other zoos, which are small, the animals here enjoy a lot of space for just daily activities. So from physical segregation, the animals can be segregated from each other, so they enjoy relative freedom in their own space. We're going to the Lion and Tiger Park. It's 7 and 8 minutes away from the park. So on our way there, we can actually enjoy the view on the right. So where we are now is a swan lake. On our way, we will see some deer, pandas. For the deer, you can interact with them. So we can actually drive or actually walk. You can see how people interact with deer. Horses, different deer. And these herbivores. We see some vegetation. Well, in the panda park, we actually have some devices that help them decrease temperature. How many pandas do you have? We have 2 pandas here. Have you ever considered raising more pandas? Because we're situated in the mountains, on the way up, on the way down, there are many ups and downs. Well, we enjoy natural endowment, resources, natural vegetation. These are really good conditions. And there are many routes for pedestrians, and the routes for this kind of transportation is separate from the pedestrians. As long as you have the ticket, you can always take this kind of battery car wherever you are in the park. If you're just walking over the 3 mountains like a tourist, it takes a whole day for you to go to different spots. Because in different spots, you get to enjoy different activities. While you see those rare animals, you can interact with giraffes, you can take electric car to see or observe the giraffes. In the giraffe park, we see the giraffes, zebras, ostriches, which kind of the feature of the African continent. So on our right, we can actually see some free roaming giraffes. You can actually observe how tall they are. You can compare with other animals. Number 2, we have African tribes. This is where you can interact with giraffes. Every day we have tourists go there. They can pick on the leaves and to feed the giraffes. Number 3, as I mentioned, the Swan Lake. On the island, we see different birds, or the birds, observe the birds on the lake. So this is kind of a motion way of showing how these birds are living in this environment. We just talked about the natural segregation, artificial segregation, to actually separate different animals. So in our part, how can we encourage people to interact with animals, or what are the things to keep in mind? So when you come to Wild Animal Park, you can actually observe and watch these cute animals, but in a healthy way. Do not interrupt the lifestyle of the animals. Do not feed them, because we have our own feeds. Every animal has a unique formula. So when we are feeding the animals, we have to meet specific requirements. So when people come to our park, do not scare, do not feed the animals. Another thing is that the peacocks, or also other animals, are half raised by humans and half raised by nature. So do not chase around the peacocks, or do not pluck their feather out. So you can actually follow the rules, be disciplined when you observe and watch the animals. I saw some reports recently when some people visited park. When they see the kangaroos, they actually hit or throw things at the animals, because this is summer season. This is the transition from spring and summer. People get tired. Animals get tired too. In the sun, they get tired. They want to hide out in the shade. They want to take a break. When they are relaxing, do not go close to the animal, because they need a break. Do not approach them when they're taking a break. So when you are observing the animals, you can observe how they sleep. This is one way to enjoy your activity. It's not that you always have to interact with them. They always have to walk. They have to run. Because every way of observation will be quite different. You have to think in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. When you interrupt those animals, it's a damage to those animals. Don't throw anything, throw any stones at the animals. Because the animals are our best friends. We need to know how to take care of them, how to actually make themselves feel happy in this space. We have to reflect on what we do to minimize damage to those wild animals. So this is another animal that we can approach. The alpaca, llama. See, the deer are taking a break. You can observe them like this. This is it's a quite a natural way for us to observe them. This is how they live. So have they eaten all the grass here? Because every year we're putting on more grass seeds, while underneath the rocks, it's kind of hard for grass to grow. And plus the damage by the herbivores, because the herbivores eat grass. After they eat the grass, it's hard to grow back. So we've been devising different solutions how to improve the environment, improve the living environment of the herbivores. Well, if they eat grass, we have provided the feeding space for them, so we can actually provide them with different breeds, or different seeds, or different grass feeds, so they don't impose any damages to the natural environment. And we're actually trying to improve the area of green, the grass here, to actually protect those deer from eating the grass. So we're actually putting more green spaces here. So this is actually enhancing the overall environment of the park. So in front of us, we can see some other deer here. They were actually crossing the road. So this is a community of the deer, the spotted deer. This is where the pedestrian route and the electrical cart route correspond. You can observe the behavior patterns of the deer by walking along this route. So we can actually ask the deer to run for a distance for a while. So we were actually shooting something yesterday. We have a family. There's a family we have interviewed. They bought a baby dog. They thought it was a dog from Tibet, but eventually found out this actually turned into a bear. So they actually want to donate this bear to the wild park. So if this happens again, what can customers do? You can actually talk to us. You can call us. We have this, the shelter hotline. We can provide some information regarding these animals. In terms of care services, we can provide more comprehensive services than those private parks. I see the pandas are actually taking a break in the shade. So there's no feeding, no noises when pandas are taking a break. So going back to those family, going to the family we have interviewed, well, the family actually raised the bear for 11 years. So when they try to contact the park, they have to provide a certificate to prove that they have raised this dog or the bear. Well, they actually purchased this Tibetan spaniel. They thought it was a dog, but they did not know what it was when they bought it. so the source of origin is unknown. It's like what we do with our care service, because what we do is only providing those care to those animals with a certain origin. So you can actually call the police or the police public security force. You can tell them if the bear is from a certain place. You can call the local administration. Well, I think Yunnan as a province enjoy high diversity in animals. We see some giant snakes, bears, or any other ferocious animals appearing. Our shelter center is to serve the animals. So because when some certain season comes, seagulls come through Kunming sometimes, and they might injure human beings, and we have a staff of doctors who provide medical service to these seagulls. So next year when the seagulls come back, we'll release the injured bird back with our community. So we usually have a team of veterinarians who can take care of them. So now we're in the lion and tiger villa. We can see the triplet Siberian tigers here. The breeding for the tigers is quite successful. We saw some septuplets in a year. But now we have 5 tigers here. 5 tigers are actually breeding. We're seeing the tiger cubs. These are adult tigers. What's the total number? We have 200 tigers. This is the total number. This is huge. Well, it's not that big in terms of compared to other parks in China. So this is a national park for the Siberian tigers. We have to raise the number of the tigers because it's a rare animal with artificially built environment. We're tracing their bloodline, their origins. We keep the good genes. The relatives do not actually breed together, so we actually find some good partners for the tigers as they do in a natural environment. So we can see some 2-month-old baby cubs here. We have to sanitize our hands. We change shoes before we go in. I feel really sorry about what happened on the raft, because no one expected us. That was first time for us to get into the island. I'm really sorry. But that was good because that was the first time for us to get a first peek at those ringtail lemurs. For a lot of people, that must be the first time to get a close look at those cute lemurs. Use the sanitizer to sanitize your hands. And when we come back, we can sanitize our hands again. Well, come on, let's go inside. It's like a big cat. Wow. It's behind the door. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you hot? Are you yawning? Well, the climate is good for them. It's not too hot. For those tropical animals, it's quite good for them. Come on. Isn't it comfortable sleeping here? Isn't really comfy? Oh. So they have no problem interacting with human beings. They're free animals. Because when we are working here, it's all animal-oriented. We work with them, we play with them to follow human nature, to follow animal natures actually. When they feel like doing something, they can do something. When they feel like sleeping, they can just take a rest. Our keepers are taking care of them. We have a specific team for them. My name is Li Heng. So you are the mother of the triplet. I am the father, also the mother of those triplets. So can you tell us how you take care of them? Well, in the morning, at 11 o'clock, we provide breakfast. And for now, they have 2 meals a day, 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock. They eat beef or chicken breast, beef without any skin, and some calcium pills, vitamin pills, nutrients. They're not breastfeeding, right? Because tigers, when they reach a certain age, they have to eat meat to provide more nutrients. It's really naughty. Cub, it's holding on to our cameraman. It's like babies. Well, the triplets. It's an interesting community. Now they have teeth. They like to bite on something to actually grind their teeth. The teeth are growing. They're not attacking people aggressively. They interact with the keepers, people. While some tourists are not familiar with them, they might be afraid of the tiger cubs, but for the tiger cubs, they're only just playing with you. Do they see their mother? No. So when the cubs are raised by humans, but they have scent of human beings, when the babies come back to their mother, the mother won't accept them. As long as they have the scent of human beings, they would not be able to go back to their mothers. Yes, they would not be able to have close touch with the mothers. It's for their safety. Well, they have their scent of human beings. The mothers will be afraid. If their babies have other scents, they will actually kill the babies if the babies have other scents. What about some surviving skills for the baby tigers? When they're grinding their teeth, we'll give them a ball or rubber balls for them to grind on. And we all have those wooden objects that actually chew on those wood items. They will actually eat the bark because this is one way for them to grow their teeth. These are tiger natures. They like to attack people, but this is something, attack animals. This is in their nature, but we know they will not harm people. This is just tiger nature. Well, we have 5 tigers who are pregnant, and we have many cubs. Some were born a few days ago, and these triplets are actually the oldest among this new generation. So the cub is very interested in our cameraman because our cameraman was born in the year of the tiger. It's a friendship between the two tigers, I guess. I can see they have different personalities. This one is quite quiet, the other two are quite naughty. They like to play with human beings. Some like to hide in the shade to play with themselves. They do not like to play with tourists. Well, if they see something interesting, all cubs will come together because the triplets are at the same age or of the same age. Well, they have the human sense on them. It would not be convenient for them to go back to the mothers. Well, it wouldn't be easy for them to actually integrate in the tiger community. When they reach 1 year or a year and a half, they can go back to these the tiger exhibition zone to interact with other brothers, sisters. It depends on their ages because they're still tiny, they're young, so they're in this zone for people to observe. What about the adult tigers? Is there a transition time for them? When they grow older, we'll have a training period for them. We have some fake objects for them to catch, to bite on. And we also have some live animals for them to actually train the surviving skills. Because in this human interference environment, they still have some wild instincts that have gone disappear because of human interference. So we need this kind of training to actually help them get them back. So we are actually doing work, making effort in providing those extinct, providing protection for those extinct animals. In terms of those activities, we actually do some special measures to protect them, for them to grinding their teeth, to catch some animals. So they're here with the trunks. It's almost time's up for our live streaming session. I hope when you have time you can come to the Wild Animal Park to actually learn something about them. So we all know we'll all further our understanding of how to protect these wild animals. I welcome everyone to come to the Wild Animal Park in Yunnan to interact with those cute animals, to observe those baby cubs. When the Children's Day is coming, June 1st is coming, I hope to see more children here. So our last shot is our triplet Siberian tiger. Thank you for watching.